We start things off at 4 today with the crackdown on speeding through central Indiana construction zones. If you drive this right here, I-465 and I-69, you may have noticed these signs warning you that cameras are watching. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence. And we got to talk about the goal of these speed cameras. The goal is to keep work crews safe and to make highways safer. Well, Karen Campbell is live for us along near I-69 to explain how these cameras are going to work, whether or not they're going to be making an impact. Karen.
Hey there, Felicia and Dustin. The speed limit along, any work zone that you travel in on the highways will be 45 miles per hour. So any driver caught going 11 miles per hour over that, they'll get their they'll get their vehicle snapped by a camera. Now, these cameras are attached to SUVs, and many people may not even know they're there. And I say this, why? Because on my way into work this morning, I was going 50 on 465 where there's a camera, and there was a black Jeep behind me who honked his horn. So maybe he just didn't know there was a camera there, but I certainly let him know that, hey, you need to slow down. So we also know that NDOT has placed 4 of these mobile cameras on 465 and 69 again to help encourage drivers to slow down in work zones. And the goal we mentioned to reduce the number and severity of crashes and speed in work sites. Now, I spoke with Natalie Garrett today. She's from NDOT, and she tells me the hope is that every driver will obey the law. Take a listen.
Later this spring, we are anticipating moving to the enforcement period, and that's when the warnings and civil penalties will kick in for drivers.
And of course, reasons why NDOT wants to give drivers enough warning about this before that enforcement kicks in sometime this spring, because the first violation, again, after this enforcement kicks in, the first violation will just be a warning letting you know, hey, this is your warning. If you get a second warning, whether it's the next day, the next week, or the next month, you'll be hit with a $75 fine, and the third and subsequential tickets that you get in the mail will cost you $150. Dustin, Felicia.
Karen, has NDOT seen a reduction in speeding or crashes maybe in work zones since putting these cameras into place and starting to use them?
Well, yeah, so this is not the first time that NDOT has used these cameras. They used it in Hancock County last year, and they tell me that they have seen a significant reduction in just the first 4 months that they use these cameras on highways in Hancock County, which is another reason why they're hopeful that, drivers in work zones will get the message and slow down. Again, with these warnings that are coming currently in the mail.
All right, Karen Campbell reporting live along I-69. Stay safe in that construction zone, young lady. We will get back to you.
Weather Impact Day, Mr. Sean Ash, where the temperatures are, they're more into the 60s, feeling really nice, but it also kind of it feels like stormy. Right? Little punchy out there.
It looks like it would be, but it's so nice.
Well, we've been talking about it. It's going to take a while to get here. And it's going to make the chill that gets in here around this time tomorrow even more harsh as well. So we'll start off with no severe weather locally. Very slim chance we might have a severe gust here this evening. This is the line that's approaching New Orleans. This is why they adjusted the parade schedule there for Fat Tuesday. Severe weather in progress. That is where the high probability for severe weather will exist, and it goes through the overnight. We're on the more stable side of the system. It doesn't mean we dodge impacts. We're going to have a little burst of heavier rain later today, and we'll have some rumbles of thunder. We don't want that to catch you off guard, but the clouds have way more bark than bite right now. They did not slow us down from warming today, warming indeed. At this hour, we're still in the mid-60s here in central Indiana, 65 in fact in Indianapolis. Lafayette recovering from the 40s this morning, and Peru almost at 60 degrees as well. So unseasonably warm air, one of the warmest days of the year so far, and you still got time to enjoy it because the air is still very dry. Dew points are in the 20s. So it's going to take a while before this air becomes suitable to produce some rainfall. I think we may even still be dry close to 6 o'clock. So you still have another couple of hours here. Once we get closer to 7 here in downtown Indianapolis metro area, all bets off for dry weather. Some of that rain will be locally heavy, some rumbles of thunder, and we could have gusts over 50 at times before midnight. Little street flooding potential, few power outages, not going to rule them out. We'll talk about the colder side of this system and an active 7-day forecast moving ahead.
Okay, thank you, Sean. We'll check back and make sure you stay ahead of today's storm, the potential of storms. We're streaming our live Doppler 13 radar on WTHR Plus so that you can track those conditions really easily tonight. New at 4, guilty on all charges. That is the verdict this afternoon for a man accused of a road rage shooting that injured an innocent bystander working across the street. That victim was an employee inside Sullivan Hardware on Keystone Avenue. Rich Nye was in the courtroom for the verdict, where it was clear the defendant did not want us there.
Surveillance video shows Marquise Tipton firing 6 shots at an SUV he thought was fleeing the scene after causing a 3-car crash he was involved in at 71st and Keystone on March 20th, 2023. 2 bullets hit that car, but it was not the car involved in the crash. Another bullet went through the wall of the yellow house at Sullivan Hardware, hitting cashier Susie Warden in the left eye, which she lost. Tipton thought we should be covering other news.
All the things that y'all can be covering, dead kids, but y'all worried about this. I need to be ashamed of yourselves, man.
The judge found Tipton guilty of aggravated battery for the injuries to Warden and also guilty of 2 counts of criminal recklessness for shooting the car and shooting on a busy street. The defense hoped for just a criminal recklessness conviction.
I'm just glad that the judge was able to rule in our favor on this verdict and hold people accountable that commit gun violence in this community.
Tonight at 5, reaction from Warden, who testified at the trial. She now has a prosthetic eye.
Tipton remains free until his sentencing April 29th. At the Marion County Community Justice Campus, Rich Nye, 13 News.
Thanks, Rich. And a 57-year-old man is dead after an argument over music led to gunfire on the city's southeast side. Lawrence police say they were called to Kingsborough Court. And this is off of 46th Street around 5:30 this morning. Police are saying that when they got on the scene, they found a man in the street with gunshot wounds. That man was rushed to the hospital where he later died. Police say the suspected shooter stayed at the scene and was taken into questioning. Neighbors now tell 13 News it's a shock to a normally quiet area.
He goes to work, he comes home, he walks his dog, and that's all he does. It's real friendly.
Violence like this is not necessary, it's not needed, and we're not going to put up with it in this neighborhood. We're not doing it.
At this hour, we're working to learn the name of the man shot and killed. Again, this happening on the northeast side. Once we learn that and any other details in this investigation, we will be sure to report that to you. And right now, the city of Indianapolis is facing a wrongful death lawsuit. This lawsuit comes after the death of 2 kayakers who died at Emmericksville Dam on the White River. The suit was filed by the special administrator handling the estate of the 2 kayakers. It states that the city did not properly warn kayakers of the dangers surrounding the dam. The drownings of the 2 kayakers happened back in April of 24. Brothers 30-year-old Marcus Robinson and 22-year-old Solomon Shirley died in this incident. Lauren Kostick will have more on this lawsuit on 13 News at 5:30. And now we have to get to some breaking news. It is another volatile day on Wall Street. The stock market just closed at 4 p.m. Here is how the day ended. The Dow is down more than 650 points and the S&P 500 is down more than 70 points. So another big hit today as President Trump enacts tariffs on our 3 biggest trade partners.
Mexico, Canada, and China. And the question is, will consumers be caught in the crossfire? How will this impact our economy? What could end up costing us more?
There is no question that this is going to be hitting Americans in the next days, weeks, and months.
Economists say the price of several items will soon be going up, everything from food to electronics. Mexico, for example, is the largest supplier of fruit and vegetables to the U.S. Tomatoes, avocados, raspberries, bell peppers, and strawberries are just some of the grocery items that are expected to cost more, according to the University of California, Davis.
Mexico also manufactures millions of cars sold here in the U.S. every year. The tariffs are triggering a fury of reaction and retaliation from leaders in all 3 countries.
We will not back down from a fight, not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake.
What they have to do is build their car plants, frankly, and other things in the United States.
President Trump, as you heard there, argues that open trade is costing Americans millions of jobs and say that these tariffs will hopefully entice our trade partners to move factories here to the U.S.